Well, hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Ladies and Gents Listen Up. And man, we had a flood of comments on our last episode. And so we going to talk about the comments. But first, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with somebody else. How are you today, Mr. Carpenter?
I'm doing very well, Dr. Liz. And you?
I'm doing very well. Just trying to bring in some of this spring, right? We are ready for it. Right,
Yeah,
right,
you
right.
match. Mayflowers, you matching.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's go on over to Grandma's Cookie Jar Secret and pull out some Cookie Jar Secrets, and then we're going to get into our comments. So, and today we are going to talk about, am I ready for love? How do we determine if we're ready for love? Like for real. We can say we're ready for love, but are we really ready? Let's see what Grandma's Cookie Jar has for us today. Be a good person, but don't waste time proving it. All righty, let's see what's on the flip side of that. There are so many beautiful reasons to be happy. Change the way you look at things, right? One
Yes.
of, one of my coaches, he always says, change the way you look at things. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, right? Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's go ahead and let's get into these comments here, right? We had quite a few comments. You stirred up the buzz with a statement that you made on the last comment. So let's just talk about a little bit. We are talking about in the last episode the fear of commitment, men versus women. So everybody, we're not going to read all of the comments, but we're going to read a few. And
Okay.
one of the comments came from Ryan in Texas. And Ryan said, if you only put 25% in as a boyfriend, you will never get to be a husband.
That's nice.
That was one comment. The other comment came from a love talk. Actually, she has a YouTube channel. Go on over there and look at her content. Very good content. She says the man was created by God with the ability to provide and handle it emotionally. She says, no, Rufus, she hit your nerve regardless of the percentage. If it's love, the relationship will win. All righty. And we had a comment from Andre from Detroit, and he says, all you can give a woman is 25%. Anything more, she will run you. Ooh, so we had like a gamut. We had people on both sides just throwing in the comments, right? Rose
Hmm.
says, it's the quality of love, not the quantity of love. That was from Rose. And then Priscilla. Priscilla says, fear can be good as long as it doesn't paralyze your ability to love another and commit. Do not rehearse old hurts from previous relationships. Fear can be also a caution and not move forward too quickly. So we're going to stop there with the viewers' comments because we had a plethora of them from all gamuts, and we appreciate your comment and your engagement. Anything you wanted to comment on, Ms. Her?
Well, I want to tell the audience, thanks for commenting. It's great to realize that you're listening. It's better to realize that you're voicing your comment, because once you voice your comment, you become a part of the show, and it makes it worthwhile. Because a lot of times when we put stuff out, we got an idea of what we're putting out, but we really don't know how you receive it until you respond back. So I appreciate the comments. I guess I got some growing to do, as you all said and expressed. I appreciate that. I've learned, and I'm moving up. So thank you for the comments.
Wonderful. I think that's an awesome tool for us to, be open to the comments and the suggestions and to actually, they're helping us to grow and to, look at things from a different perspective as well. So thank you for your honest feedback, sir. Appreciate that. So let's jump into today's topic. Today's
Okay.
topic is am I ready for love? Wow. So there's a couple of things that, kind of pulled together from different various sources that talks about some of the things that you can look at to see if you're actually ready for love or not. Oftentimes, we want that feeling, we want that relationship, but have we done our work? And we talk about that a lot. Have we done our work to get in position to be ready for love? So one of the ways to kind of measure or test is, have you've sorted out your own issues? Have you sorted out your own stuff? We talk about bringing that whole cake to the table. Have you sorted out some of your stuff? Would you like to add some things to it, or are you going to just comment on the ones that I have here?
Well, but let's talk about that one. In my studies, we call that self-awareness. Your self-awareness is my number one, which is apparently your number one. So that's very important because you first have to realize where you are. For instance, as a matter of fact, this seemed like part 2 of last week.
I'm sure going to fly. Okay, go ahead.
So when this subject was chosen, hey, but see, first you got to make sure that you're ready first, because if you're not ready, you're going to bring a lot of your baggage into that new relationship. So first you got to do your self-assessment. Where are you in your own being, in your own self? Where are you at? Are you really ready to love or fall in love? And first of all, you're not ready if you still have work to do on yourself, whether it's trauma, whether it's that you don't know where you are in life, you don't know what your priorities are. All these things have to be answered first by yourself and as a self-assessment before you can actually be with someone else. Because if you're busy trying to heal your own wounds, it's very difficult that you can bring something to the relationship.
Right, being in a healthy place. I think that's the kind of,
Right.
And it goes into our next bullet point. A relationship is a want, not a need. I pulled it up. I'm not saying that I agree. Not with that one. But I think what they're saying is that you want to be in a healthy relationship. You don't desperately need a relationship. I think that's what it's trying to say. If I can add a little bit there, I don't really. That one is kind of tricky.
Oh, that you can look at that more ways, because it's really 5 points I have about whether you really fall in love. It's 5 points. And my 5 points are, first, like we just said, self-assessment. The next one is emotional readiness, and your relationship goals and expectation, the timing, and personal growth. So when you say it's not a necessity, it's a want, I have to disagree.
Yeah.
Because God made us where we can't do anything alone. God made us to couple, to pair.
Mm-hmm.
That's how nature works. That's how we do. It's hard being an island all to yourself.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Like we said, I think about 5 or 6 podcasts back, we said that if you don't have a relationship, if you don't have that intimacy with someone else, it make men angry, and it make women depressed.
Right.
So that's something that if you feel you want to be angry all the time, don't get a relationship. And if you're a woman, you want to be depressed, don't get a relationship. But if you want to be happy, if you want to be loved and give love, get a relationship.
But I think it's also saying that, that sort of like accepting where you are. You don't have to be miserable in being by yourself, right? Because I think sometimes if you're like in a needy position, then you tend to settle. So you don't want to be not saying that you don't need, because we do need one another. We need community. We need, fellowship. We need those things. But getting into a specific one-on-one relationship, I think it's saying that you don't want to get into that relationship if you're in that desperately needing position. You want to be where I do want this loving relationship. And I think it's all, again, going back to mindset and how do you see things, right? So if you're in a healthy space and you say, wow, I want this relationship versus, I desperately need, that's how we're going to see that one. But you can see it from different points of view.
Yeah, but in my studies, I found out that it's a section where it says relationship goals and expectations. What do you expect to get out of a relationship? That person, I would ask that person or that study, I would say, what do you expect to get out of a relationship? What are you looking for?
Okay.
That's the question mark. If you're looking for someone to complete you, if you're looking for someone to bring value to your life, if you're looking at shared goals and shared responsibility, are you looking at building something together with somebody? These are all the things that you have to take into consideration when you talk about your relationship goals and expectations.
Exactly.
You can do more. I think in the Bible it says if you want to go so far, if you want to go further, take someone, you'll go further.
Right. Too right.
That's
right.
I paraphrase it a little bit, but that's
I think we get the point here. The next one was very interesting, where it says,
okay.
Your ex is no longer a factor. Because I think some people bring their exes into a relationship, meaning that they haven't healed from that past relationship. And so every conversation or everything that comes up reminds you of that person, meaning that you really haven't gotten over them. Whatever the breakup was, whatever that was, you haven't gotten over it. So that person is still a part of your thought process, a part of what you're doing.
And that goes back to our very first one, self-assessment. You're not ready. Right. Your ex comes up, you're still into your ex. You haven't recovered from that relationship, whether it's hurt, whether it's trauma, or whether it's whatever it is. You haven't progressed from that. So you're not ready to love.
Right. And then that's where you come in at when they talk about bringing baggage into a relationship or having somebody else pay for what somebody else did, right? So the next one is you don't depend on others.
Okay.
I guess
once again, that falls back into your relationship goals and expectations. That's what it falls back into that. That's still under that umbrella.
Right. Right. This wasn't just one specific study. It was just some random questions, some random things that we pulled out. It kind of pulled out. You take your time getting to know someone. I think that one is very important, that you take your time to really get to see that person and pretty much, see them in every season. How do they react to different situations? You just basically take your time to really get to know somebody. And it takes a minute before like some of those walls start coming down, right?
And that's in mine it's called timing and readiness. And you gotta see significance of your timing. Where you are, are you on a rebound, or are you really you've done the work on yourself and you're ready to do, is your life, things in your life now geared where you can, because you may be ready, but your responsibilities outside of a relationship may be that, you started a new job or a new this, or someone in your family is sick and you've got to invest a lot of time into their wellness. So everything comes into play. You said timing, because a lot of times, especially new relationships, when you get a new relationship, that initial timing is so important, because you have to bond. And remember the five stages of relationship. Right. All this come into play. When we talk relationship, everything is so connected. And that's what I love about relationships and relationship building. It's all the same, no matter whether we talk about it in the terms of ready to love, or whether we talk about falling in or falling out of love. They're all that communication and all these things really come into play. And that's what makes it so beautiful.
Who would have thought that all of this work was involved in relationships? Oftentimes we meet somebody and, things happen and now, you're in a relationship, right? But who knew that you needed to do all this work on yourself and then make sure that that person has done their work as well? I heard a lady say on one of the podcasts that I was watching, she said she listened out for when she's dating somebody, if they say that they're in therapy. A lot of people run from that, but she runs through it. So she said that means you've identified there's a situation that you need to resolve and you're willing to do the work to resolve it. So that's again, changing the way that you look at things, the things you look at change. Thank you. And I want to throw that out, Coach Michael Matthews. Thank you so much for that one. Yeah. It stuck.
Yeah, but before we get out of timing, you got to before we leave timing, you got to realize first, you got your timing, the other person's timing, and the time of you as a group. So it's three parts of that time. We're not going to go back to past, present, and future. We're not going to that. But in that part, it's really three parts. It's your timing, where you are in your life, and where you are prepared, where your readiness to fall in love, the other person's readiness to fall in love, where they are in their life. And then when you come together, timing for the things you need to do together. So timing is a big, important factor. And you have to respect each other's time. You have to respect each other's time. Okay.
There was something I wanted to throw out to our audience too. There was a question that I came upon. It said, is it worth waiting for someone who is ready for a relationship? So if you meet somebody that's not ready for a relationship, is it worth your time to wait for them to be ready for a relationship?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm reluctant to say what came from my mind.
Why? Well, maybe, wait a minute. If you're reluctant, then maybe it's something that you may not want to say. I don't know.
A little gun shy, but
are you gun shy from the comments that have been coming?
But all I can say this way. A lot of times waiting, I would say yes, if worth waiting. And the reason why I would say that, because there's been people in my life, there are people I know that their timing wasn't right, but it didn't change my feelings. I was still, I still had those feelings. I still had that infatuation. I still had the love in my heart for them. Each time I looked at her, it was like, wow. How do you cut that off?
Right.
Don't cut it off. You hope and you pray, and you hope, keep hope alive.
It's that genuine connection, and what I'm hearing you say is a genuine connection.
Yes.
Well, and this is one of the final comments on this specific. I was just pulling some random stuff off this to kind of make the conversation interesting, though. It said the right partner can open up the world. The wrong partner can open up the other part, which is not the world, right? Can destroy your world, basically. So, am I ready for love? Great. What else did you have to add to the conversation for today about am I ready for love?
Well, here's the big dog in the fight.
Uh-oh. Here we go, y'all.
Here's the big dog in the fight. The big dog in the fight, and this is carryover from last week. Emotional readiness. That's the big dog in the fight. Are you emotionally ready for love?
Right.
That's the big dog in the fight. And once again, we touched on a little bit, the healing of the past wounds. That's one of the major ones. The emotional stability in yourself. How much emotions, how much intimate, how much can you give? What's your capacity to love and be emotional in a relationship?
Yeah, so I think right there, though, I think when we go back to necessity, if you're not ready to give 100% of yourself to somebody, if you're not ready, then that answers the question. That means that you're not ready for love yet, because you still have some crevices or some pieces that you're holding back. And if you're holding that back, your partner eventually is going to figure that out or going to feel it, because things will come up where you're like, well, I'm not 100% in, so I'm not gonna side with, maybe even what's best for the relationship or best for the other person. I'm gonna hold back because I'm only bringing, 25, 30%. I'm not bringing my whole self. So that answers our question. You're not ready for love. You may want it, but you're still not ready, and it takes time to get ready, do all the work and everything before then you're ready. And then now we get to the part where we say a right partner can open up the world for you, right?
Yes, because all week long I've been answering questions. People have stopped me and said, "Hey, Rufus, let's talk about the podcast."
Oh, good. What was some of the feedback? What was some of the questions?
And matter of fact, they beat me up and they beat Teddy Pendergrass up too. I said, wow.
I think you did get a beating.
I said, beat me up, don't beat up Teddy Pendergrass. Because they said Teddy Pendergrass even wrong. He's talking about 70-30 or 50-50. They said, no, it's not 50-50, it's 100 and 100.
That was so good. That was so good.
So Teddy even took a whipping.
But they said whippings aren't correct us, right? Put us in a different frame of mind. So that was some good stuff. That was really, really good. Well, so now that we know what it takes for us to be ready for love, now we can have some better results. I wish that, again, if we go ahead.
One more we didn't cover.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Personal growth. Continue to personal growth. That's the only one in mind I didn't cover. Personal growth. Personal growth, you have to realize in order to maintain a healthy relationship, you got to continue to grow yourself in that relationship. Because if you don't, anything that don't grow tends to fall and drop and dip.
Absolutely.
So you have to continue to grow. Personal growth in yourself and in that relationship. Both partners. That's a second key in that personal growth. Are you willing to grow? Are you willing to listen to your partner? Are you willing to cultivate those emotional terms? Are you willing to learn the other person's love language? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to invest the time in your partner? Are you willing to be an active listener in communication? Are you willing to know your partner? What are their needs? What do they desire? Are you willing to understand what it takes when you have conflicts in your relationship? What are the things you can do to do that? Is it compromise? Or is it doing other things? This is one of the biggest part. This is the biggest part after emotional and vulnerability, is that personal growth. And I just had to get that in there.
No, that's great though, and I want to just piggyback on that a little bit when you talk about your personal growth and personal development. I joined the gym, working in the gym. But when you get into the relationship, it does not stop. So once you're in a relationship, like I said, I joined the gym. So in a relationship, you won't stop going to the gym because you want to keep doing what it takes for you to be in a healthy place, a healthy position. So sometimes when you get into a relationship, you stop doing those things that you were doing before. But it's important that you maybe even incorporate your partner into some of the things that you're doing, but also to keep some things that you're doing to yourself so you can continue to grow, continue to develop, be stronger and things like that, I should say. So I'm excited about that. That was a good conversation about being ready to love, and I just think that if more people took the time to watch podcasts such as this podcast, or, to even start thinking a little bit differently or outside the box when you talk about a relationship, it is work. People think they just hear the rose, they just smell the roses and hear the music and all of that. But like you said, after that, there is work. So there's work before, during, and in the relationship. So there's always work.
Let's give a caveat too. If you don't mind, give a caveat. If you notice that you're going in and out of relationships and they end as quick as they begin, you're not ready for love. And sometimes you got to realize something. You can't sort all the pieces out by yourself. Sometimes you need help, and that help sometimes may be professional help that's required for you. It may be a therapist, or it may be a psychiatrist or psychologist. You might need professional help.
Right.
So, Liz and I, we would tell you, if you go in our relationships and it don't turn out well for you, you may want to seek some professional help.
Right, because you're the common denominator, you're the common factor. So you want to assess what's going on with you and why you're attracting a certain type of person. But that's, again, a whole nother podcast. But so hopefully this information, well, we do know the information is stirring up a buzz, because some of these things we just haven't, like we said, there's not a lot of conversation being had about, what do I need to do to get into, to sustain before I get into a relationship. And then as I'm in a relationship, or if a relationship, topples over, how do I handle these things? What do I do? I don't think we have enough of those conversations. So I thank you. I appreciate everything, or your honesty and being open and bringing all this to the podcast. I'm excited for, to hear what the comments are. Don't forget, everybody, we put in there, is it worth waiting for someone who is, let me rephrase the question so it's not confusing. Is it worth waiting for someone to be ready for love? or ready for a relationship. Is it worth
Yes,
waiting
indeed.
for? All
Yes,
righty.
indeed. It's worth
All right.
waiting for.
All right, you all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with somebody else. And don't forget, hit that subscribe bell and leave your comments below. Don't forget, bye for now and stay fearless.